Quentin was the first patient that died in my arms. He was a 6-month-old little boy who suffered from a traumatic brain injury. That morning, the nurse put him in my arms and said, "Cuddle him for as long as you can. We don't think he'll make it today." I looked down at Quentin. He looks as if he was just sleeping. He felt so light in my arms, yet the weight of holding him and knowing that he was dying, that weight felt so heavy. As a music therapist, I knew music could provide the comforts that he needed, especially during these final hours of his life. So as I watched his chest rise and fall to establish the beat to his song, I began to sing. Hush, little baby, don't say a word. Mama's gonna buy you a mockingbird. Quentin opened his eyes and looked around, but he was so tired that he couldn't keep them open for long. I noticed that his breathing started to change. Each breath became shallower, yet more effortful. Each interval of his breathing spaced out longer and longer. I knew these were the signs indicating that his life was coming to an end. Finally, Quentin took a small breath in, and I kept singing to wait for a breath out. But it never happened. Eventually, a nurse came and stopped me. She said, "That was nice. I think he loved it." But was music just simply something nice? Or did it play a role in reducing the physical and psychological suffering of this precious little boy? As a registered neurologic music therapist at the Queensland Children's Hospital, my job is to use music to support children with critically unwell, mostly focus on rehabilitation, but often I have the privilege to work with those who are dying and their families in using music to alleviate pain and to bring comfort until the end of their lives. When I first became a music therapist, I thought I'll be singing to children who are sick and bring a smile to their faces. But little did I know, I was actually there for another mission. A mission to bring musical experience in meaningful ways where words often fail in those final hours. Music therapy is the therapeutic use of music to improve health or well-being. It is not about entertainment or teaching music, but rather focusing on people's quality of life through a research-based practice of music. Neuroscientists have found that music activates more part of our brain than any other human function. Here's a brain scan showing what music does to our brain. When we listen to music, it first activates our brain stem, which coordinates all messages throughout our body, controls vital functions like heartbeat and breathing. Then it simultaneously activates our temporal lobe that's responsible for sensory and language processing, our frontal lobe that controls thinking and motor planning, our cerebellum that's responsible for body movements, and our limbic system, which is also our emotional center. Study shows that music creates a rich volume of brain stimulation, which improves our mood and reduces feelings of stress and pain. In the final hours of life, our brain continues to respond to auditory stimuli, as hearing is the last sense to be lost before we die. The University of British Columbia published a study in 2020. They found that most dying patients respond to sound the same way as the healthy group of participants, even until the very end. Associate Professor Sam Purnell from New York University, who's well known on his work on near-death experience, explains that as our heart stops beating, our brain remains momentarily active. Our brain gradually switches off from the top down to our brainstem until it's deprived of blood. The fact that music has been proven engaged at a brainstem level leads to the conclusion that we can remain connected with the dying until the very end. In relation to the psychological benefits of music, our brain releases some feel-good hormones that benefit our health. Endorphins and dopamines are released every time we listen to music that we love, while enjoying and making music with others contributes to social bonding. This bond is particularly important in the palliative care setting. The positive chemical that induced by music can function like analgesia, disguising and distracting the physical and psychological suffering for the dying and the loved ones. My music therapy clinical experience have taken me to the other side of the world. In 2010, I traveled to China and spent 3 months volunteering in orphanages for children with disabilities and life-limiting conditions. I wanted to use my skills and knowledge to improve the quality of life of children who are unfortunately dying without families and medical support. The first orphanage I visited was a small dark room that crammed with 15 medically unstable babies. Their arms were tied to the cots, with urine and feces all over the wooden board that they were sleeping on. They were lying on their back, staring into space without a sound. These babies learned to be silent because no matter how hard they cry, their needs would not be met. I stood in the middle of the room and felt so overwhelmed. I couldn't choose which baby to approach first, as they all equally deserved love and attention. So I did what I know the best. I began to sing. I sang a Chinese love song that my dad used to sing to me when I was a little girl. 你问我爱你有多深，我爱你有几分。 I noticed that the more music these babies were exposed to, the more sound and natural body movement they made. I started to hear them cooing and watching them making eye contact with each other. One by one, I began to see life and peace in each of their limited yet intimate social interaction, even as they were passing away. I also witnessed a change in the carers as they began to sing to these babies with happiness and contentment. My work with these orphanages was not a research project, so I can't present to you any systematic clinical evidence on the use of music in this particular setting. However, what I saw was music created an inviting space that encouraged these babies to experience joy and meaningful interaction. The role of music went beyond relieving the physical pain of dying, but rather improving the child's quality of life by reducing social isolation to enable personal intimacy. The therapeutic power of music is not just for the dying, but it overflows onto the grieving loved ones. I met Joseph and his mum Isla in the intensive care unit. Joseph was dying with an aggressive form of cancer at 8 months of age. And my role was to provide musical experience to support Joseph and Isla for memory making and meaningful play. Joseph's favourite song was Galump the Green Frog. Every time I strum my guitar and sing, but we all know frogs go la-dee-da-dee-da, he would shake his bell so loud and giggled so hard that you forget he was a very sick little boy. By manipulating different elements of music like rhythm and harmony, Music created a very comfortable auditory environment to regulate his heart rate and alert state, in allowing Joseph to just be a normal baby, to simply have fun. Unfortunately, Joseph was very drowsy most days, so Isla and I spent a lot of sessions making music together. Through this creative musical experience, which went on for weeks, we wrote a song for Joseph. This songwriting process was therapeutic and powerful for Isla. The words packed with messages from Isla to Joseph. The tempo of the song was set at Joseph's heartbeat on his half birthday. And the first note of the song was the same note as Joseph's happy cooing noise. This song was Joseph's legacy. A legacy that turned the most devastating farewell of Isla singing to Joseph as he died in her arms into a permanent living connection and bittersweet memory. 12 months after Joseph's death, Isla wrote me a card. She wrote, "Every time I miss my baby, I sing our song. It's like I can feel him and remember all the good times. It strangely cancels out the absolute opposite of the traumatic memories of his last breaths. I don't know how I would cope without our song." Music is more than just something nice for children who are dying. Music brings comfort to their body and connection to their soul. It creates an invisible and everlasting link between children who passed away and their loved ones. Today, Quinton, Joseph, the babies of the orphanage, they're no longer here to tell you the impact of music. However, Isla wants to share part of their song with you. May I invite you to close your eyes if you feel comfortable, and let this song be the voice of the children that you hear. I hold you tight, I cannot hide how much I love you. The stars tonight are shining bright, twinkle by your side. The bunny's gone away, the puppy's gone to play. You and I are close to stay, side to side, sing this lullaby, forever you and I. Take my hand, hold on tight, whether near or far. Take my hand, we'll travel together till the end. I hold you tight, I cannot hide how much I love you. The stars tonight are shining bright, twinkle by your side. Please don't be afraid, Mummy's here to stay. You and I are close to stay, side to side, sing this lullaby, forever you and I. Oh, side to side, sing this lullaby.